Have you ever gone to a Brazilian steakhouse and wondered what that delicious rainbow-shaped steak is? That's picanha, my friends, and today we're gonna cook it in 2 ways, so let's go. Here's a picanha. Now, if you can get this from your butcher, it is a must, especially with the fat cap on. It's delicious, kind of triangular shaped, very similar to a tri-tip. And here you can see the muscle fibers run across the triangle shaped meat. Now, where the tri-tip actually comes from the bottom sirloin, this piece comes from the top sirloin. So it's packed full of flavor. When sliced correctly and cooked correctly, can be so tender and moist. From the side, you can see the fat cap is still on. Now, this is very important if you want to make it in the Kuhaskaria style or the Brazilian Steakhouse style method. So we're going to make this one picanha in 2 ways. First, we'll make it the Kuhaskaria style, which is on skewers. For that, we want to cut across the grain because that's how you're going to slice it when you eat it. Second, we'll cut it with the grain to make steaks because when you slice into the steaks, you will cut it across the grain. Here, I'm just going to trim off a little bit of end fat to clean it up. And this fat makes great for beef tallow. If you've never tried to make beef tallow, I'll put a link in the description below to that recipe. So if you have metal skewers, such as in the Brazilian barbecues, then you want to cut about a 3-inch slab. However, I'm using wooden skewers and I'm going to do this on the grill. So I'm just going to cut about 1 inch to 1.5 inch slabs. This creates that nice rainbow shape. Now you could go a little thicker to about 2 inches if you have a rotisserie or blade-shaped skewers, as in the Brazilian barbecues. What you would do is fold that over into this rainbow shape and then stick a skewer through to keep it in that shape while cooking. Now with this other piece, we're just going to cut it with the grain to make steaks. Now according to Google Foods, this is how it is actually eaten in South America, and the rainbow style is more for show. So for steaks, I like to go about 1 to 1.5 inches. And you can see that there is some marbling in this meat, although it is pretty lean. Now lastly, I'm just going to trim up these steaks a little bit, remove some extra gristle and fat. And this is really personal preference, how much fat you want to leave on. But I find that some of this fat cap has already separated, so might as well just remove it to reduce flare-ups. Here are our beautiful steaks. They look gorgeous, don't they? And on the right here, we're gonna prep these for skewer style. I'm gonna leave the fat cap on these pieces, but what we're gonna do is kind of fold them over into that rainbow shape. Now for the thicker piece, I'm gonna cut this in half to about 1.5 inch thick slabs because I'm using wooden skewers and I'm gonna grill them instead of rotisserie them. Both cuts look amazing. And these are ready for seasoning. Now all you need is some sea salt on both sides. Traditionally it's rock salt, but if you've got sea salt or kosher salt, that will work. And I put a little pepper too, although it's not traditional. We'll give these a quick flip and then season the other side. It does help to press in the seasoning so it sticks, and also for the thicker pieces to season all sides if possible. Lastly, for the pieces on the right, we're going to fold them into this rainbow shape and then skewer them. Now, I use wooden skewers because that's just what I have, but if you have metal skewers, those would work much better. The one thing you have to watch out for wooden skewers is that they will burn in the barbecue. But that's okay, as long as they're inside the meat, they're protected, but those parts that are hanging outside the meat will probably char and break off. Just be careful not to eat any of the wooden skewer. So we'll space these out a bit so that very minimal wooden skewers hanging out the ends. Now, isn't that pretty? Since these are our skinny skewers, we're gonna use a second one about 1 inch apart, just so when we flip these, that the meat does not rotate. If you have thin metal skewers, you may want to do this as well. Although if you have the thicker blade skewers in traditional Brazilian barbecues, then just one skewer is enough. Now it's time to cook and grill these delicious pieces of picanha. So on a hot grill, the hottest you can get it, we're gonna sear these bad boys and flip them every 2 minutes. Now if you have charcoal grill, even better for flavor, but here I'm just using a gas grill. With all that fat, you will get flare-ups, and that can mimic some of the char on a charcoal grill. Whoa, so you definitely want to watch these carefully. If you have flare-ups, just move the meat to another part of the grill. Again, keep on flipping every 2 minutes and watch out for those flare-ups. A couple more flips and moving the steaks across the grill, and we're almost there. After a total cook time of about 10 minutes, you can start temping these. Now I'm looking for at least 125 to take it off the grill. You can go as high as 135 for that nice medium to medium rare. These still have a bit to go, so we'll put them on the lower heat and let them go for another 5 minutes or so. Now it's been a total cook time of 15 minutes, and we'll temp one of the larger pieces to ensure it's at temperature. You can see it is hitting 125, almost up to 130, so it's ready to take it off the grill. Now if you have a thicker cut of meat, this might take a little longer, and we will let these rest for a bit, so the temperature could come up another few degrees. Let's check the temperature of the skewers. Also at temperature, just above 125, 127 or so. Time to take it off the grill as well. Now these are gorgeous, nicely brown, a little bit charred on the edges, which I really like to give that texture. Can't wait to dig in. So here we have a gorgeous picanha steak, and now we have the gorgeous skewered picanha, a la Kuhaskaria style, or Brazilian Steakhouse style. Let's slice into the steak, and you do want to cut it against the grain. As you can see that the muscle fibers are well separated, which will make for a much more tender bite. Let's cut off a piece from the center. Look at that. See how tender it is? And that's why it's so important to cut this along the grain when cooking, but then slice against the grain when eating. Now let's cut a slice from the skewer, a la Brazilian barbecue style. Slicing it straight across the grain, forming those beautiful rainbow-shaped pieces, and perfectly pink on the inside. And here you can see, it is so tender and moist. All that juice is just flowing out. Time to eat. Let's go for the steak style first. So full of flavor and juicy, moist. I mean, it really just tastes like a New York strip at the end of the day. I mean, full of beefy flavor. This is so delicious. Now let's try a piece of picanha from the skewer style. Now you can see how the meat fibers just sort of fall apart. This is so tender as well. It's packed full of beefy flavor, but I will say that the seasoning didn't seem to penetrate all the way through. So the edge pieces had great flavor, but as you got to the centerpiece, you could definitely use a bit more seasoning or some kind of sauce. So there you have it, 2 wonderful ways to eat picanha. While the Kuhaskaria style definitely is the cooler looking version, and the presentation would definitely impress your guests. Flavor-wise, the winner goes to the steak. What are your thoughts? What's your favorite style to eat picanha? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, that's it for another video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.